Yeah, so I play Kevin. Kevin is, for lack of better words, the voice of reason. Kevin's, I feel like his main motivation is preventative survival. Kevin is the one that says we shouldn't do it because it's a bad idea before it's been proven to be a bad idea. But Kevin's journey in the film is one of, it's an interesting one because one could paint Kevin as angry, but I think it's just a realization that I came to when I was kind of thinking about it earlier is it's just exhaustion. It's exhausting to have to keep explaining to someone, what you think should be so crystal clear. A fact that about society that you feel like can you just open up your eyes and see and wake up and say this is the way the world is. So it was beautiful to play that, explore that. Even the things about Kevin that I didn't fully relate to, I had to put my pride to the side and say, you know what, I have to do Kevin justice and serve his perspective, which may not always be the right perspective, but y'all can be the judge of that when y'all see the film, though. Yeah, so myself and Keith, we've been friends for a while. We did a movie called New Edition Story back in like 2016. So our friendship and camaraderie it just carried over into this set. This is my first time meeting Mason on this film, but it felt like we just knew each other for years. Him, myself, and Keith. As soon as we got to Tulsa where we were filming that, we started going to festivals, we started going to museums together, like different restaurants, just to build that bond and chemistry even further. So by the time we got on set, it was just like, we didn't have to really work for it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, John is so amazing, man. To just have the ability to write from three different black perspectives and to make them all make you feel like, wow, well, I feel like that they all could be right. These are three different points of views, but they all correlate so well. I think John did a great job at that. I think he did a great job at also putting the message in a way to where it doesn't feel forced, but you will walk away from the film with some questions like, you know what, wow, that was kind of deep. I got that point. So John is great. As a writer and our director, he led the ship in a great way. I think us as a society has to look at ourselves and look at the preconceived notions that we put on other groups of people. That's what we go through in the film. We get trapped into this neighborhood, we witness something happen, and these certain groups of people look at us like, oh, we think they did it because they're this certain group of people. That's a preconceived notion where you don't even have a fact. And so I think that if we can start to just open up our minds a little bit as a society and kind of say, okay, let me understand the facts, or let me just get to know the person before I judge off of what I just think to be true. So I think that's the message that they can kind of walk away with.
Yeah, my character is Tyon. He's a college football player, quarterback to be specific. He just wants to have a night with his buddies, come back home. And he has dealt with some problems back home, a little issue he got into that put his scholarship in jeopardy. I look at it like he was just trying to get away from that in the moment and hang with his friends so he doesn't have to think about that. But when they get thrown into this whirlwind of a night, and like questions come up about just his maturity and what he needs to work on as a person in the midst of also running away from this guy who he just witnessed murder somebody and try to survive. So yeah, no, we have a really great bond. I mean, me and Algee worked on the New Edition story together. I met Mason before the film, right before the film. So by the time we got on set for the film, we were just really close and cool. And that chemistry carried on spilled over to the screen. Even though Kevin, aka Algee, and Derek Mason don't get along at first, it's crazy how much we got along in person. And it was easy to work with him, honestly. Oh, John was a pleasure. He was just really locked in, you know what I'm saying? And it was some urgency, but not in a bad way. We just wanted to, we wanted to knock it out, and we shot it in a very unique way, all night shoots the whole time, 30 days straight. So that was tough, you know what I'm saying? And having to make sure you make the time every day, and then make sure your actors have the energy to show up to set is a lot. And for that to be like, your debut in that way is like tough, and I think he handled it very well. Yeah. One, I mean, the thriller aspect of the film is amazing. The score is amazing. I think the fact that we get to also layer that with great social commentary and what we may see young black men or men of color could go through on a night like that, I think is really important. And I think that seeing it on the big screen really just engulfs you into the story, and you're just on the edge of your seat the whole time. And I'm just happy that we get to witness it on the big screen, just like I think most films need to be seen on the big screen for the first time. So the fact that, we're able to do this is amazing, and I think that people will take home not only being entertained, but just a really great message. So.
Derek has an interesting relationship with authority that I think plays a heavy role in his arc as a character. I don't know if he's ever experienced a lot of the same type of hardship that you would think implicit with his skin color. A lot of his friends, whether it be Kevin or Tyon, have maybe been profiled or taken out of context in a lot of ways that are actively harmful to their well-being, where Derek has enjoyed a level of privilege and affluence in being a part of that talented 10th mentality, where his intellect has allowed him to obfuscate or avoid a lot of issues in life. That when you put him in a situation where he feels he ought to call the police or an authority figure that is typically set in place to keep him safe, he has to realize over the course of the film that a lot of what you find in that safety that you might look for elsewhere is meant to be found in community and through friendship and through adversity that kind of breeds that camaraderie that he finds in Kevin and Tyon, thankfully, for the runtime of the movie. I mean, it's funny, you hope that every project feels like a certain level of comfortable, and what specifically Keith and Algee provide in terms of consideration and space to be played within in terms of emotion on set is bar none some of the most all-encompassing and pleasant work I've gotten to experience. And then you factor in the late, great James Van Der Beek, who held such space for us as we discovered our voices in whether it be a leading space or such a thrilling and compelling narrative that resonates with us as young black actors, that it always felt like we could lean on him to provide a sense of etiquette and professional productivity on set that allowed him to take on that leadership role that came to him so effortlessly. So in addition to just being really good friends with everyone on and off set, it also felt incredibly productive and professionally very gratifying. Yeah, John has a natural penchant for breeding collaboration in terms of setting us up with the most amount of know-how and understanding of circumstance and world, and then kind of letting us run with our best instincts. He has a tendency to say the right thing at the right time that usually leads to a very productive film style. We only had 22 days, and it felt like we never wasted a moment, and he never wasted a breath. It always felt like it was all coalescing into something wonderful. Coupled that with the fact that he's a brilliant writer as well, that we weren't really hurting for a lot of creative opportunities there to put our best foot forward. So John really is the only person that could tell the story and did it in a way that I think is unique to him, that you're just happy to support as best you can. Of course, I feel like that innate relationship to authority, whether it be judicial or federal or spiritual in a lot of cases, as misappropriated by Jacob, James's character in the movie, is we have to engage with whether it be media we consume online, videos of law enforcement pulling people out of cars, or a society that ultimately feels at odds with the way that we connect with one another, if that's even a possibility. And I feel like this movie offers insight into what it means to discover community and to be and support through kinship and through understanding and empathy, as Derek, Kevin, and Tyon eventually learn to do, that if we're going to survive this thing, we're going to do it together. And luckily it's all wrapped up in a fun genre thriller film, and I personally couldn't ask for anything more than that.
I was actually an executive at Lionsgate when I first found this project, and I was focused on building pathways for diverse and inclusive content. So the script came to me actually from our chairman before he was our chairman. When he was the head of marketing, he was like, I know these producers, they have this really great project, take a look. And when I read it right away, I was like, there's something special about this. Like, it was gripping, it was entertaining, but it was clear it had a message at the center. And then begins the fight to get something made. And getting something made is so difficult. You have to convince everyone that there's something worthwhile in it. You have to figure out the budget. You have to find the cast. You have to do some development work. You have to give notes. try to get it greenlit and then get told no and then try again. Like, it really is a journey of, like, it doesn't matter how many times you fall down, you stand back up. And John had been working on it for many, many years before I even came on the scene. So I think today in this release is really just a testament to the fact that, like, things that matter are hard but are worth doing, and when you actually get to that finish line, it feels so rewarding. So what was really great is that when John was developing this, he said, he was like, I've been talking to Mason Gooding for years about this. He's passionate about it, and, like, Mason's star has continued to rise over the years, and he remained committed. Sometimes it takes a long time to get that yes. And when we circled back and we were like, we think we have a go, he was like, I'm still in. I still believe in John. I still believe in that story. I relate to this story as a biracial person myself. I want to help you tell it. And then from there, it was just like, who do we surround Mason with? Who are going to be the believable friends? And what you see on screen, that chemistry between Algee and Mason and Keith was just electric. It was incredibly it was palpable. Like, they had fun together, they were laughing, they were joking right away. And then the villain, that was, like, an incredibly important role. And we talked about a lot of talented actors. And we kind of kept coming back to, like, would James Van Der Beek ever do this? Like, he's done so many things. And John actually got a chance to sit with him, send him the script, and talk to him. And he was like, James actually really believes in this. I think that for me, what stood out to me about the script and what stands out to me now about the movie, seeing it done, is that when I tell people the one-line opener of, like, 3 young black men are going to a party, the highway shuts down, they decide to take a shortcut through a multi-gated community at night, everyone, regardless of their racial background, goes, uh-oh. And the fact that we all know that that is an uh-oh moment, that, like, taking a wrong turn for these characters might actually bring something, like, deeply dangerous. I think that's the conversation that John's movie can help to get started, clothed in a really fun, edge of your seat, talk to the screen, don't go in there, why would you do that? Like, I wouldn't go inside there. And so I think that it's a really participatory kind of viewing experience, but then I think it leaves you with a couple of questions, and Mason's character is really kind of the embodiment of those questions as he's going through that journey and realizing that, like, the world is not exactly what he maybe thought it was.
Yeah, so it's a very personal story. It's about my journey as a kid, and it's about based on some people that I knew also, and it's really a fusion of these ideas that I held close and dear to myself, and the horror and thriller genre that I've always worked in and I've always adored. So during COVID, I finally was able to sit down and focus on sort of like combining the lessons that I wanted to teach and finding a nice sort of genre package so we could take people on a nice fun thrill ride and entertain them, and in the end have them talking about some of the lessons that were learned along the way. I'm so delighted to have worked with the 3 leads that we have in this film. Mason was the first one to come on board. He's been with us from the start. He's been a great champion for the film. I was very fortunate to catch him. He was a rising star, and he was the guy that I had in mind for the Derek character. And so with his advocacy, we were able to get the other 2 guys, Algee Smith and Keith Powers, who the chemistry of these 3 guys was just like off the wall from the beginning. It was incredible. And getting them together really felt like a blessing, and it really set the foundation for the film. These 3 guys had very different backgrounds and were all sort of well established in their own ways, and to put them together and see how they played off of each other and sort of exploited their differences and sort of like found common ground was really exciting to see. It feels both timely and unfortunately timeless, some of the lessons that need to be learned in this film. To give you an idea about it, I wrote it in 2020 before the George Floyd tape became public, and it is being released today, and the conversation has changed, but some of the deeper themes are still relevant. But it does explore the nuances of growing up as a black man in a certain community, and the different perceptions that you can have, the different experiences that you have, and how that shapes your outlook on the world, and how in a moment of crisis all of that can be put to the test and changed.